Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Istituto Italiano di Cultura. For those of you who haven't been here before, I just want to tell you that we are the cultural section of the Consulate General of Italy. Tonight we have with us also the Consul General, Mr. Gianni Baldini, because tonight we are going to open here, not on site, an exhibition which regards a very important anniversary for us. Because this exhibition speaks about the battles that were fought in order to gain independence in Italy many, many years ago. We gained this independence in 1861, but before that we had to fight for, well, according to historians, we could say that the beginning of this movement that brought us to the independence began around 1798, when Napoleon started his descent in Italy, and for 3 years we had a republic in Italy. Before, we were divided into many, many different states, kingdoms at the time, with one exception, the Republic of Venice. But, okay, what is this exhibition? It's about some of these battles, and it has been set up into the Consulate General of Italy as a symbol of the place where the Italians, you know, identify themselves. So it's the idea of this exhibition, which will be, of course, explained better by the people that are with us tonight, the author, the photographer, Giorgio Barrera, and by Bonnie Rubinstein, who is the curator and artistic director of COMP, the festival. I think I don't have to spend more words on the festival because Bonnie will tell what it is about. Giorgio Barrera is a young Italian photographer, as everybody can see. He's studied photography in Italy at the Studio Marangoni in Florence, who is a private school that has been doing a great work in this respect. From that school now, a lot of important photographers are coming out. And he has started his career working with a very famous American photographer, so famous that I have to read his name. No, I mean, because I'm ignorant, of course. Joel Meyerowitz.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to thank everyone here at the Istituto for their support of this project. We certainly couldn't have done it without them and all their hard work. And also the Consul General, of course, for allowing us to produce the installation there. It really is a great opportunity for us. I thought I'd explain a little bit about how the project happened. Well, firstly, our relationship with the Istituto goes back some years, working with Adriana's predecessor, Martin Stiglio, who was a supporter of the festival. We produced an installation at the consulate as well in 2008. Perhaps some of you saw it. We on the fence, you can't see in this image, but the fence that runs along Dundas Street, did a series of photographs on the fence by an Italian artist, Raffaella Marianello. And we've been producing public installations for the Contact Festival. This is our 9th year. We started it because while the festival was quite large, we didn't have anywhere to do our own exhibition programming. There was venues all over the city that were run by other organizations, so the idea was firstly to start our own programming, and it was also a way of sort of uniting the festival. So we looked to, and my background was in public art, so we looked to using public space. The idea is not just to put photographs out anywhere and hang them outside. There has to be a relationship, a very specific relationship between the site, the function of the site, and the content of the photograph. And so I approached Martin. I guess I had seen somewhere, I think in Europe, an installation on a fence. So the first idea was to use the fence, and then Martin sort of gave me a mandate. Well, He loved the idea, he was very supportive, interested in participating, but he wanted there to be a relationship in terms of the content of Italy. So we have an Italian artist that was exploring Italian content in some way. And so to add to that, we every year have a festival theme. So we have all these various things that we have to approach in terms of trying to fulfill everybody's mandate. So it's not an easy thing to find the right fit. This year's festival theme is Figure and Ground. It's a very broad theme in some ways, but the sort of central focus is that it's addressing the relationship between humanity and nature. And so I had discovered Giorgio's work, and I know the Battlefields project as well, but also the Through the Window, which is another great project, and we did look at having that there. But this project, even though when I first saw it, online actually, there was no text in English, so I couldn't read anything about it other than the title. But I think that's one of the wonderful things about it, that the photographs are so beautiful. Not all of them, though. Some of them are very mundane pictures, but there's a lot of breathtaking, beautiful, stunning landscapes that have this resonance that you don't need to know that there's all this history, very complex history that's embedded in all those photographs, that they function very much alone without any of that. All I could read was that it was called Battlefields with a date, so I got a sense of it. I did a little bit of research, and when I approached Martin about it, I didn't know if it was a totally politically incorrect idea to put it at the consulate, or it was the most perfect idea that we could possibly find, which luckily it was. And so originally we looked at putting them on the fence, but it was an idea that we've had for some time to try doing these sculptural installations with photography. So I'm very pleased that the consulate the consulate and the institute were willing to take a risk, because it was kind of a risk to have photographs standing in a garden, and that Giorgio was willing to take the risk, and we're so excited with how it's come out. We think it's an amazing installation, and we're very pleased and proud of it, and I hope you all have a chance to go and see it. It'll be up there for quite some time. So thank you everyone for coming, and Giorgio will now speak about his work.
First, I want to thank you, the Contract Festival at the Italian Institute, to give me the possibility to be here and to show the work, and also for this talk. And I'm very happy, really, also because it's my very first time here in Canada. And I'm walking through Toronto, it means just to see, because I'm spending just 1 week here, so I want to see the city and try to know what it is, because it's such a different way of conceiving the space as a city. It's so new, and it's kind of interesting for me. So, Adriana has just said a little bit of my life, and so you know a little bit of me. But I want to say that I always liked photographs, but I started taking up photography just 10 years ago. I mean, 100% of my time. Before, I ran a business consulting and accounting studio in Florence. Then in 2003, I moved to Milan, and I decided to start this adventure with photography. And for a few years I worked mostly commercially with advertising. I worked for Sky TV, advertising Sky TV, and also Nokia and other brand companies. But then I started to focus in my research on more artistic projects. So the Battlefield project that starts in 2004. I went to New York for a few months, and I bought an 8x10 camera. I don't know if you are familiar with camera, but an 8x10 camera is a very large format camera. It's a camera that most of the American photographers who photograph American landscape use. It's a wooden mahogany camera. And I was was testing this camera outside Milan because I moved to a house in the countryside, and I was testing this camera, and I started understanding the lens, the negative, and trying to see what could I achieve with the camera. So after a while, I showed this picture to an art historian in Turin, and she said they look like battlefields. So this is a sentence that really hit me, because she could see something like they are because they were actually battlefields. So she could tell that they were battlefields looking at a picture. But I was in the landscape, in the countryside, and I couldn't imagine that I was there inside a battlefield. So in a way, what it pushed me then in the making of the project was that I started working on some symbols. As she could see an image, and she could tell it was a battlefield because of some sort of symbols and that are in the image. Like, for example, what she started to, the picture that I started to take were foggy landscape, and so because human beings have a sort of a dictionary of symbols, icons that we attach, or what do we say, we grasp or we link to it to feel certain emotion. So this is the installation at the consulate, and when Bonnie and I talked in Paris about this, and I was a little bit scared. But then, and I know I'm very happy about the result, and I think the installation has something to the world. So, if you ever want to go and see it, when you will be there, you will find also some captions that are describe sometimes the events, some are more anecdotes, and you will know a little bit more about this part of the history of Italy.